All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful June 21st, 2023. It is the first day of summer, and it is an all new episode of Roundabout Sports presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media, where our passion is our profession. Thank you so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Karp, alongside Babs. And of course, Jared, our dear friend, is always tuning in as always. Babs, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing all right. Well, it's unfortunate because today the Cardinals snapped their 4-game winning streak, but hey, they still it's been a pretty good past few days. They're starting to pick it up a little bit. Offense is starting to wake up, especially. Um so and we'll get into there's a lot of Cardinal talk we're going to have to get into throughout the course of the show. And there's a lot of other breaking news we have as well. First, I want to say, be sure to find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on our website at interstate70sports.media. You can find us on our official YouTube channel as well. And of course, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker. So everywhere you can find a podcast, we're there. So with that, Babs, why don't you give us your hockey? We have some breaking hockey news coming in, and I know that you were wanting to share that for sure.
Yeah, we had some breaking news coming from 101 ESPN radio when Armstrong was on today. And there were two Blues that were inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. One of them being the old coach, Ken Hitchcock, and an old player by the name of Pierre Turgeon. So, yeah, it's been exciting today for that. I'm very excited for Ken. I'm really excited for Pierre too because it says here that he had 1,294 game points in 515 games, and that's pretty amazing numbers right there.
I was gonna say, and then you got Ken Hitchcock, who of course won a Stanley Cup with the Stars in 1999, and he is the fourth
Yes.
winningest coach in the history of the NHL with a total of 849 victories. Of course, he won 248 games with the Blues, made 5 straight playoff appearances with St. Louis as their head coach, but unfortunately did not meet postseason success. Had a
I
couple
think the
seasons
farthest
afterwards.
round that it said that he got was the third round, I think, with
Yeah,
the
third round
Blues.
was the farthest that Hitchcock was able to get. But nevertheless, I mean, still had a pretty successful career there. In fact, in his coaching career, I believe there was only a total of 5 seasons where he even missed the playoffs. He had a 512 playoff record, a winning percentage, and he, like I said, he had over 1,500 games coached. So big time credit there to and yes, Roundabout Sports, Jared, is on our Facebook, is on Facebook as well. It has its own page. It does not have a Twitter page, but you can find all of our episodes all over social media and on the Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel. So yes, big time congratulations there to Ken and uh Trudeau on their Hockey Hall of Fame inductions. So
For
yeah,
sure. And it looks like he actually tried to go back to the Stars after he was let go from the Blues, and it looks like he wasn't very winning after the fact because it looks like he had 42 wins with the Stars on, and let's see, 2017 and 18, and his last tenure was with the Oilers in 18 and 19, and it looks like there's no games there. So I wonder what happened to that. Do you remember?
yeah. I cannot off the top of my head, but you know what? It's interesting because he not too long ago actually did an interview with NHL.com. He's and in 22 coaching seasons, Ken Hitchcock he's known for his charitableness, his philanthropy. He talked about how it's such a great honor. The Canadian native said, and he says, "quote My career started in minor league hockey, coaching kids. To reach this stage is almost overwhelming to me. When the call came from Lanny today, who are Lanny McDonald and Mike Gartner, who are the Hall of Fame chairman and chairman of the 18-member selection committee, he said he was in complete shock and not ready for it. And he says, quote, this is an unbelievable honor for a guy who just started his hockey career coaching kids. So humble
And
through
that's
it
really
all. Love to
awesome.
see it.
That's really awesome to hear too, because I like hearing the underdog stories from people like that, because it makes it that much better that it's almost inspiring that people could also do that themselves. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, from one guy who's excited and honored to be inducted into a Hall of Fame, we now shift to another guy in St. Louis who decided not to be inducted into a Hall of Fame. And that's one of the hottest stories that we have going lately, and that being with David Freese, former St. Louis Cardinal. So, you know what's interesting? David Freese was named, folks, as the fan-selected member of the Cardinals Hall of Fame class of 2023. Now, Freese then notified the team that he has respectfully declined induction. And according to reports, he says, quote, he knows the value of the red coat and wants to respect others who have the honor. And this is, and I'm going to read now, this is the thing. So I'm going to read David Freese's reasoning behind it. And I'm going to tell you why, honestly, it makes complete sense for me. A lot of people don't understand it. I'm going to tell you why it makes complete sense. So he says, quote, this is something that, and then keep in mind, this is given to the Post-Dispatch. This is something that I have given an extensive amount of thought to, humbly, even before the voting process began. I'm aware of the impact I had helping the team bring great memories to the city I grew up in, including the 11th championship. But this honor means more to me. I look at who I was during my tenure, and that weighs heavily on me. The Cardinals and the entire city have always had my back in every way. I'm forever grateful to be part of such an amazing organization and fan base then, now, and in the future. He continued, I'm especially sorry to the fans that took the time to cast their votes. Cardinal Nation is basically the reason why I've unfortunately waited so long for this decision and made it more of a headache for so many people. I feel strongly about my decision and understand how people might feel about this. I get it. I'll wear it. Thank you for always being there for me, and I'm excited to be around the Cardinals as we move forward. So here is why I agree with David Freese doing this. So he spent 6 seasons with the Cardinals, but only 2 of them were full seasons. And and 2011 wasn't one of those seasons. It was in 2012 and 2013 were the only 2 full years. Obviously, it goes without saying the impact he's had in the city. And, you know, without a doubt, one of the most iconic comebacks in sports history. But, you know, he had 3 home runs in the NLCS victory over the Brewers. He had 7 RBIs in the entire World Series against the Rangers. And obviously, Game 6, it goes without saying everything he did there and why it's so iconic. But he hit 286 with a 783 OPS and 44 home runs in his career, in his 5 years with St. Louis. In 2012 was the only time he was an All-Star. And he left the team after the 2013 season. Now, Cardinals president Bill DeWitt III released In a statement, although we're disappointed he's declined to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, we respect his decision and look forward to celebrating his great Cardinal career in other ways going forward. He is always welcome at Busch Stadium. So, Babs, what are your thoughts on just everything that's transpired with David Freese and the Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm kind of on board with you. Everyone loved him because he was the hometown hero, which I I'll have to say 2011 was probably the reason why I became so obsessed with the Cardinals. But at the same time, if we're going to do that, we have to look at everybody else that's done, like 2 or 3 big hits and stuff like that. So I agree that he's not really Hall of Fame material, but I saw someone else mention that they should have a wing of like big time Cardinal moments in the Hall of Fame. Now, that would be perfect for David. So he wouldn't have to, come up and do everything like the big, like the opening day ceremonies and stuff, because I do know that he lives in Texas and I do know that he has other things going on in his, life right now. But I mean, that would be perfect. It would be perfect to have, something like, say that or Oscar Taveres's first home run at bat in Busch Stadium and stuff like that. And I totally agree, and I'm kind of thankful that he kind of stood up for it. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be prestigious, not to be remembered for 2 or 3 moments.
Right. I mean, and the Hall of Fame as a whole, celebrates the players, the legacy, the moments, and the memories that take place within the history of the St. Louis Cardinals. And that's where you showcase the 2011 season, you know,
Yes.
which, of course, like you said, that includes everything David Freese took a part of. You celebrate the ones who weren't there long, but still left an impact. Um, and I mean, you know, it's not that David Freese had a bad career by any means, but his isn't the type of career you can put a Hall of Fame next to. Um, but there's a difference between being a Hall of Famer and um, being a legend. To me, David Freese is a legend because everybody in baseball lore will always remember that 2011 Cardinals season, that comeback. They'll remember
Even
Game
if you're
6
not a
and Game
Cardinals
7.
fan.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. Like everybody's going to remember, down to your final strike on 2 different occasions, and the Cardinals, kept finding a way to stay in it. You know, it was something that everybody tuned into. Um, because for a while it was one of the lowest rated World Series of all time, and then Game 6 picked up, and then everybody practically tuned in for Game 7. And it's just with David Freese, it makes a lot of sense. It's sad that he declined being inducted as that fan selected member, but not only is Jose Oquendo still going in, not only is Max Lanier still going in, but what they're also going to still honor Scott Rowland for being inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. So they're going to honor him then during those ceremonies. So I mean, it's still a lot. So
To follow up with his Twitter, 4 days ago, David posted, "Thank you to all the people that have zero opinion one way or another. You know how to live your life. Enjoy the rest of your summer with a peace out sign." So that's kind of an interesting tweet, to say the very least.
yeah, I was gonna say I'd expect. I mean, there's always going to be people that are gonna take offense to the fact he declined it, but at the end of the day, he has his reasons. They're not bad
Yes.
reasons, and it's none of our choices but his. If he doesn't want it, he doesn't have to. And there's nothing to think less of him about. Like, you know, whenever he's in St. Louis, people give him those ovations and all the attention because he is the hometown hero. That's what makes him even a bigger legend. It's not that he was some kid from, like, we'll just say for the hell of it, like Seattle or something that came to St. Louis. He literally grew up here, you know.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I made a funny
and
comment to him on his post. My friend
it's like
Tony,
maroon.
he's like a very diehard Rangers fan. And I said, I love you for making my friend Tony's life a living hell in 2011. That in itself makes you worthy for the Hall of Fame. But I love you either way, red coat or not. You've made me fall in love with baseball all over again.
Exactly. So I that's where I stand. And folks, be sure to give us your comments, your thoughts on everything as far as David Freese and declining his Cardinal Hall of Fame induction. So, you know, he at the end of the day, he just felt he didn't feel like he was deserving of it. Now, let's just say he was a career 277 hitter, which includes his stints with the Dodgers, Angels, and Pirates. But he was even better in the postseason. He hit 299 in his career in the postseason. And let's not forget he did make another World Series appearance in not just 2013, but also in 2018 with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So, David Freese, definitely a postseason legend, but
Not a Hall of
yes,
Famer.
according to him, and in a way, not a Cardinal Hall of Famer, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just how it is. So, we take what we can get.
Yep.
With
Now
that,
that
let's
almost
also
makes me
continue. We're going to continue our. Oh, go ahead.
That almost makes me wonder if that opens the door for more rejections, because I think this is the first one that's actually rejected the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's the first. He's the first one that's rejected it, but it also depends on who. Okay, I got an honest question for you. If let me think of a perfect example here. And I know it's going to pull some hard. Just say for the heck of it, Daryl Kyle. So, say Daryl Kyle was voted in the fan. Would you feel that he's actually deserving of it?
Again, he would probably be in a wing somewhere, not necessarily with a red coat. He would be in like the
Exactly.
fallen players wing and that
With
kind
like
of thing,
Oscar
but not
Tavares,
necessarily. Yes.
like.
Yes.
So, yeah,
I
I'm
apologize if there's noise behind me. There's some go-karts going behind me. I'm sorry.
nothing but the fun life out there,
Yeah.
in Babs Land. You've heard the Badlands. Well, now you got the Babs Lands. Well,
You
once
have no
again,
idea.
thank you, everyone tuning in as we near the 20-minute mark here on a beautiful, beautiful summer evening. It is June 21st, 2023. It is the newest episode of Roundabout Sports. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Carp, alongside our lovely Babs. And there's also, speaking of the Cardinals, I have to say, how about the fact that the Cardinals are going to be playing in London soon?
I am totally excited, and a lot of my friends are actually going to that game just so they can see a game of baseball. Because they have never seen a game of baseball. They have rounders in the UK, which is basically the same thing, but it's kind of different rules and their bases are different. And so I'm excited to hear all about it. I have so many friends going.
Well, it's interesting. We talk about in the past, we talk about how the NFL is looking to expand into Europe. Well, now this is the prime chance for MLB to try to do the same thing. You're already here in London. Well, of course, Paris would be another hot spot. You know,
Mhm.
throw in places in Germany and the Netherlands, Spain. I mean, there's so many amazing places throughout the continent of Europe. 4 years ago, let's not forget Yankees Red Sox. It was a 17-13 game. I mean, the NFL's first game in London in 2007, the Giants beat the Dolphins 13-10. Um, so here now, of course, we're now with the Cardinals and the Cubs. Once again, one of the hottest rivalries in sports history, and it puts Major League Baseball center stage at the international level. For a sport that has so many international players on it or in it, it's a great showcase. Um,
Well, I kind of see it as like the World Baseball Classic this year. It got an extremely positive response. Even Great Britain with their terrible jerseys, which if they ever get a baseball team, I hope that they're so much better than those. I'm just saying, with the Times New
oh
Roman on the
my
front.
god, the
Yes.
woke
So
jerseys,
I
absolutely terrible.
yes. So, but I'm actually really excited, and I'm excited to hear all about it from my friends next week and see how things go, because they've seen a lot of my friends have seen my Cardinals posts on my page, and they've never, been able to place these people with their faces. So now it's going to be awesome to give them some exposure that they might not have had before in the past. And I agree with you that it would be a good way to showcase baseball and maybe get it to go quote unquote viral and maybe worldwide too.
Exactly. And our lovely friend Hollywood has decided
Well,
to
we
chime in. Oh my gosh, we love our dear friend Hollywood James Knox, and I mean,
No,
sure,
we
let's put
can't
some.
play cricket. We have to play rounders. That's what it's called in the UK. It's called rounders.
Cricket sounds much better.
I mean,
Nevertheless, what's interesting though? Britain is, or England, whatever you want to call it, it's MLB's biggest market in Europe when it comes to the broadcast revenue, the merchandise sales, and subscribers to all of its social services. Um, Now, it's also the, I believe, the fifth, no, the sixth biggest international market country wise after Mexico, Japan, South Korea, China, and Australia. Um,
okay.
and, interest in Major League Baseball has increased in Britain over the past 4 years. And what's interesting is, I mean, we talk about, and I know stadium sizes are different. Yeah, United Kingdom, basically. We'll talk about how some stadiums here in America struggle to fill their 30,000 fans, if that. And no, I'm not counting the Oakland A's who
I
can
was going to
fill
say
maybe
the
five.
A's.
I am not counting the A's because they're as good as gone. I'll count the Rays though, and how they can't fill
Yes.
people in Tropicana Field, which is
And the
arguably the worst
Marlins too.
stadium in Marlins Park. But we'll talk about the fact that for the Yankees Red Sox game, um, yeah, London drew 119,000 fans into London Stadium for a baseball game. Now let's really think about that. 119,000 people. That is like ungodly
That's a
to think about.
WrestleMania number.
That's larger than WrestleMania. I don't think a WrestleMania has topped that number.
I think
It's come
one
close.
time in Dallas, and the new stadium in Dallas, I think they had 100 and what was it?
Two thousand.
106,000 people.
Yeah, two
Yeah.
or six. Well, anyway, now it's interesting because so in 2025, not 2023, in 2025, the Yankees are looking to play in Paris. Um,
Hmm.
So we'll see how things develop there. Um, and this is true. Like, a lot of people don't realize this for the sake of international games. Um, and this is why a lot of people have issue with the Jaguars playing so many international games. But look at the fact that there is a thing called jet lag, especially when you're going, no pun intended, across the pond.
Right.
This isn't them going from Miami to Seattle and then to Los Angeles to Boston. That's literally going from St. Louis and Chicago to London, England, London, the United Kingdom,
Right.
and
And
then
that's
you
a
got to come all
16
the
and
way
a half
back.
hour flight.
Exactly. So, and then you go right back into the swing of things, you know. So maybe nearing the All-Star break would be a better idea. But as of now, they decided to say, "Nah, we ain't gonna do that yet." But I do like that idea. I think that's a good future idea in place. But either way, the Cardinals and Cubs will be facing off after this series. They'll be heading to London to face off against each other. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's always nice seeing Cardinals Cubs squaring off against each other.
And I really do hope that it gives people some exposure and maybe them getting their own team. But man, that's going to make it so hard to travel sometimes, especially if they're a part of our league. Oh my gosh, you just have to imagine the travel. They would almost have to come over here, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But the
Now,
question is where?
thankfully, oh, go ahead.
But the question is
That is
where?
true.
Maybe a Nashville, Great
Only
Britain
time will
team.
tell. Right.
You know what I mean?
You know what? Let's focus on getting baseball back to Montreal, where it deserves to be, before we talk about getting any European, teams out there. So that's my standpoint on it. Bring
Right.
back baseball to Montreal, damn it. I miss the Expos. I don't care what anybody says. Um, with that, the Cardinals, thankfully, London isn't the only interesting place over the next couple years they'll get to play at. And Babs, I'm going to let you take over for that as you delve
Okay.
into where the Cardinals are slated to play in 2024.
It was announced that the Cardinals will be facing the Giants at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. It was constructed in 1910 and based on Forbes Field in Pittsburgh. And the home Field of Dreams or Field of Willie Mays will host a Field of Dreams contest in 2024. I believe it's a Negro League field, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, absolutely. I believe Willie Mays was actually one of the many great athletes who played on that field. So, it's great that I don't know how to word it. For as much as I can't stand Commissioner Manfred, the fact that he is getting all these, historic fields, because you got the Field of Dreams games, like, now you got them playing at Rickwood Field, historic site, the oldest continuously running professional ballpark in the United States today. I believe it was founded back in 1856, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, it's just. If only he was just a better businessman when it came to it, damn it.
Well, that and the rules I don't agree with that he's doing, but I mean it's like you said, I do appreciate this, and now the Pujols is involved some way. I'm sure that we'll get some MLB games in the Dominican Republic sometime too.
Well, absolutely. Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, any of the countries near the Caribbean or out in the Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico area. I mean, it's international baseball is really going to start expanding now, and I'm glad to see it because the pure talent that comes out of countries such as the Dominican Republic is just top notch. So I love to see it. I would really enjoy, and I think for Puerto Rico it'd be great having an MLB game there, you know, to really, especially a few years just after Hurricane Maria struck and devastated the country, really lifting spirits up there. So
Now, if we could just get Yachty to be our manager whenever we go to Puerto Rico, that would be fantastic. And I'm only slightly kidding.
absolutely. Oh,
So,
jeez. Ah, all right. We love to see it. So, with that, we are going to shift talk now from the St. Louis Cardinals to some of the bigger news in the world of sports right now. So, in the worldwide realm of sports, if you will, and this is actually breaking news. So, first off, I want to say, congratulations to the Cincinnati Reds, and I only say this because it's in the middle of June, near the end of June, for that matter. But the Reds have won 11 straight games now. It is their best win streak, the longest win streak since 19, if I remember. There it is. Since 1957, when they won 12 straight. And it was the 26th time this year that manager David Bell's team came back to win a game. And the 14th time, they were rallying from a multi-run deficit. So this year's comeback kids essentially are the Cincinnati Reds. And it's interesting because, David Bell was a coach for the St. Louis Cardinals, for the assistant hitting coach and as the bench coach. And of course, he also was a player on the Cardinals from 1995 to 1998. So, but now he's taken over one of the rivals and he's thriving.
And they've done all of that without Joey Votto. I think Joey Votto literally had his first game of the season yesterday.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, take a look at the Reds are leading the division. They're 40-35, and last year they lost 100 games. Now think about that. A team that lost 100 games has already won 40 games before the All-Star break. It's just really crazy to think about.
And if I can make an off-the-record comment right now, it looks like most of the coaches that leave the Cardinals are doing a lot better. Like Maddox and the Rangers are actually having a winning season this year. And Bell's having a winning season with Cincinnati this year. So, I don't want to say it, but I kind of want to, that maybe management is the problem.
Well, and I look at it as management's being a problem because guess what? Instead of going out and getting guys that are more qualified, they'll just hire anybody within their organization and say, what the hell? You can be the manager because you used to have the birds on the bat somehow. Even if you never coached
like you were
a game.
The bat boy in like
you were a one-time coach back in 2007? Exactly. We are excited to bring his experience back to the team. Let's put him in at manager. Like, no. You need, and I think that's one of the reasons the Cardinals are in the situation they're in, is because they don't have the true leadership. First off, it helped a lot last year because you had Yachty, Pujols, and Wainwright all together. Now it's just Wainwright, who's finally getting into his groove. He's finally settling down. He's getting a lot better. But for a while, he wasn't. He had a rough start to the year. He was injured. And then Cardinals gave no run support. Then he looked sluggish. He looked off. What do you expect when you're 41, 42 years old? But, and of course, managements fail with some experiments when it comes to getting big name players or, Steven Matz. So, but I look at the Cardinals. This is the biggest problem I have with the organization. This is the problem. They're too good to be this bad.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
You know, you can't have the reigning NL MVP, can't have future Hall of Famer Nolan Arenado, you can't have an all-star in Contreras, you can't have stud young guys like Gorman and Tommy Edman, and even when he's healthy and well, Lars Nootbaar, and struggle this bad, you know. And a lot of times it's not even their fault as much as it is just the fact that pitching has been atrocious, you know. So I don't know.
We definitely need a
It's a long
bullpen arm
season.
that's actually able to get outs. That would be really nice.
Exactly. I also do want to backtrack for just 1 second because there is I wanted to include Mike Vernon, Tom Barrasso, and Henrik Lundqvist, who have all been also elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Lundqvist, definitely somebody I grew up watching, and it's crazy to think that he's already in the Hall of Fame. But playing 15 years in the NHL, and what's crazy is he's the only goalie in NHL history to record 11 30-win seasons in his first 12 seasons.
That's
So,
impressive.
I mean, definitely. Oh, without a doubt. I mean, definitely, and success. And on top of it, successful international career as well. He had a total of 459 wins, 310 losses. I mean, playing in nearly 900 career hockey games in the NHL is just insane to think about. So, yeah, but nevertheless, I wanted to just backtrack that to a second. So one more piece that I wanted to bring up. So breaking news had come out earlier today that Shad and Tony Khan, of course, the guiding forces behind Fulham FC, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and AEW, are actually looking to acquire Bellator MMA.
Huh.
And Scott Coker said recently that the company's for sale, and there is a lot of people that are interested in purchasing it. And one of those groups are the Khans. Thoughts on the fact that you could literally have, and we talk about, this wouldn't be the first instance right now where mixed martial arts and pro wrestling company were under the same ownership in 2023. But the fact of the matter is, can you imagine the Khan family being able to have both Bellator MMA, the NFL, Fulham FC, and AEW all under their belt?
I mean, if they've got the money, why not? Competition's
I
not
mean,
necessarily a bad thing.
competition brings out the best in people, or in some
Yes.
cases, the worst in people. But when you don't have competition, you slack off, you start to dilly dally, you feel like you're at the top, and you don't have to worry about anything.
Which is why I feel like Vince got too comfortable in his own skin with a lot of the WWE storylines and stuff because he had nobody to go up against, which I kind of thank Tony Khan for coming around. And I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I am thankful because now Vince has got, oh, well, now we've got to be better than these guys because, if they don't like us, then they have somewhere else to watch because people aren't going to go watch Impact anymore because I think that ship sailed. But
well, this is the thing. The MM, all right. Even though AEW, even though they won the Wednesday Night Wars, everybody knows that Dynamite beat NXT. At the same time, would Dynamite really beat Raw or SmackDown if they went head to head?
No, because
You
the
know,
Saturday show only did, I think, 816,000 viewers, and
exactly.
SmackDown got, I think, 2.1 million on Friday. I think that's what
Exactly.
the last
And
numbers.
it's also partially just the era we live in. You
Mhm.
know, it's not we're not in the era anymore where, hey, if you don't watch it this week, or if you're not recording it on your VHS this week or your VCR this week, then you're gonna miss it. No, it's just, hey, we don't have to watch it when it's live. We'll go back, watch it whenever, you know? And that's just the way it is these days. That's why Raw. That's another reason Raw and Nitro were so hot during the Monday Night Wars and SmackDown and even Heat. You know, like they were all such top rated shows because everybody had to tune in. Nowadays,
See,
especially with social media, you don't have to tune in at all. You'll see spoilers, you see all the dirt sheets and the half-assed dirt sheets that think they know what they're doing when really they're not. Um, and you'll say to yourself, okay, well, then what's the point of watching? Like I'll
right,
admit,
and
I don't make a conscious effort. This is the thing. I don't dislike AEW, but I don't make a conscious effort to watch it. You
me
know,
either.
the only show like, and I have prior engagements on Mondays, so the only wrestling show that I really go above and beyond and be able to watch on a consistent weekly basis is SmackDown. You know, I'll be
I
able to
actually
catch the
watched
last hour of
NXT
Raw.
for the first time last night in probably 7 months, 8 months, well, since
Exactly.
2.0 started. So, it's and I can definitely tell that there's a difference now between the 2, because you can definitely tell HBK's kids and Triple H's kids, you know what I mean? Even though they're kinda
Oh
one and
yeah.
the same, you can definitely tell there's a difference, and there's definitely a weird feel about NXT right now.
Oh, very
I mean,
much so.
they're having to bring on Raw and SmackDown stars to help boost everybody else. I mean, if they're that like, kinda like Braun last night. Braun had a match with, Seth Rollins, which was an amazing match last night. But shouldn't that be done on Raw? Because that's a WWE, like, the Raw's
Exactly.
title. I don't know, maybe I'm just weird about that, but yeah. It's like I said, I haven't watched NXT since it became 2.0, and last night was the first, and I mean, it was an okay show, but you could definitely tell that it was kinda drug out a long time, especially for that Dana Brooke match last night. There was no reason for it to be almost 20 minutes.
Exactly. So,
So,
all right. Well, with that, folks, we're going to wrap it up here this week on Roundabout Sports. I want to thank Babs, as always, for being the amazing co host that she is. And before we go, I do know that we want to preview what's coming up for the future on Roundabout Sports. We got a special guest coming up next week, I believe.
yeah, my birthday show next Wednesday. I asked my friend Wildcat Chris Harris to join us for a couple of hours. So we're going to have him, and maybe we'll have somebody else that's pretty well known too. And I'm trying to get that worked on too. So I'll be making an announcement about that too. So, but yes, definitely join us next
All
week because
righty.
Wildcat Chris Harris will be with us.
All right, and tune in because there's also going to be Babs' birthday's bash here on Roundabout Sports. Also, and I'm looking forward to that. So, like I said, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, um, and of course on Interstate 70 Sports.media. And as always, as we close the show, we always put the NAMI helpline up at 1-800 950-NAMI, 1-800-950-NAMI. It is the largest nonprofit grassroots organization in North America in regards to mental awareness, mental health issue awareness. And it's just a great organization to get involved with. and bring awareness to what deserves to be brought up. And of course, we always close by putting up the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And for that, you dial 988. The line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. And I'll understand that you're never alone in this world. There is always somebody out there who loves you and cares about you through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And you're just a phone call or text message away. And for you, you may also be those listening ears for somebody who's in need. So never be afraid to potentially reach out. We're all put on this earth, and we all deserve to spread the love and make the most of each day. So as always, thank you so much. I'm the Maestro Jeremy Karp, and she's Babs. And as always, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your life